Is everyone here interested in broadcast?
I'm a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm still
I'm
debating.
interested in it.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not just like talking to people who are not interested in it at all. Cool. So I was just gonna talk about like general tips, I guess, things that I've learned since doing it. I'm coming on 3 years now, especially from I did exactly what you guys did, which was you guys have the benefit of what you have a green screen now, right?
Yeah, FITV, they have a green screen in there that we can
Yeah,
use.
that's great. They didn't have that when I was there. So I know your guys' major is like super physics, math based. One thing that I like to call ourselves as broadcast meteorologists is kind of like a translator. So you know what cold fronts, upper level lows are, backdoor cold fronts. You know what the slight, moderate, enhanced risks mean from the Storm Prediction Center. You know what the Storm Prediction Center even is. Viewers don't. They just don't. Like, I know it seems so everyday normal to us to say Climate Prediction Center, Storm Prediction Center, National Weather Service. The general viewer does not know what the Storm Prediction Center is. They don't know what enhanced risk for severe weather is. They don't really understand any of that. What they're most interested in actually is how the weather is going to affect them. So before I even start, I do have a little just presentation to show, but that's probably what I would call us more than anything. It's just like a translator. We take the confusing part of weather and make it very easy. One thing you'll be taught if you go to broadcast is you're supposed to talk like you're talking like your mom or something, on camera. So you want it to be very basic. I am going to share my screen here though.
Oh, I gotta give you permission. Whoops.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Now you have it.
Let me try. Okay, can you guys see this?
Yep.
Oops. Okay. So the first and foremost thing in broadcasts is the lame part, but an important part, which is presentation. If you don't look good in your reel that you send to a news director, which is, you know what a reel is, it's how they get to know what your work is like. If you don't look presentable in the reel, your news director is going to like go on to the next candidate within seconds. Now, you don't get me wrong, you don't have to look like a supermodel, but like, you need to wear really nice clothes. If you're you wear makeup or if you don't wear makeup, you probably should learn how if you want to go on TV. If you don't know how to do your hair, I know this sounds lame, but it's kind of important. If you don't know how to do your hair, it might be a good time to learn. If you're a guy, don't know how to do your hair or what to do with your beard, might be a good time to just talk to a barber. It sucks, but it's something you have to do literally 5 days a week. And there are days where you're going to be tired, you got no sleep, and the last thing you want to do is like spend 45 minutes doing your makeup and hair. So it kind of sucks, but like it actually is a pretty important part of the job, because TV is a visual medium. Another big thing is posture. We just hired a new meteorologist at my station, and I was going over training with her a little bit. She was in Albany part-time, but wasn't on the air that much. And her biggest thing was her posture. Like she would get nervous a little bit on camera when sort of like lean forward, and it just made her look like she was nervous and made her feel like she was nervous. And the moment I told her about the posture, standing up straight, she said she felt more confident, and then she sounded more confident. She looked more confident. It was just like this positive feedback. Again, I know this stuff seems super non-important, but it really is if you want to go the TV route, which is something I learned the hard way because I did not plan on going to TV. That was an afterthought. So I learned all this stuff the hard way. With mean viewers, mean news directors. So I'm just doing you guys a favor. No one told me these things. But yeah, so makeup, hair is important, looking nice, guys have it lucky. You can literally buy like 2 suits and no one will ever know you're wearing the same 2 suits every single day if you just switched up with a tie. Yeah, he's laughing. It's true, honestly. Another thing is your voice. There are a lot of people who, do you guys know what like a newsy voice is?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where people get really nasally and they like try really, really hard to sound newsy. Some people just way overdo it. Don't overly try to sound newsy. Probably my first 2 weeks of starting a broadcast, my news director went up to me and was like, it sounds like you're presenting research or a project to us. Like you sound like so incredibly like presentation at a symposium type thing. He's like, don't try to sound too newsy. Try to sound more conversational. Don't over nasally your voice. Just talk how you normally talk. You can harden your voice a little bit. And by that, I just mean project. Like the way I'm talking to you guys right now is sort of kind of how I do it on the air, where I'm projecting, but in conversation, I'd be like talking, not as harshly, probably a little bit higher, if that makes sense. But you definitely want to project your voice, not yell, but you want to learn how to project your voice. It also makes people listen up. Like if a lot of people have the TV on, but they're in the other room and all they can do is hear you. So that's actually a really important part. You want to not only look good for the people who have it on mute to understand what you're doing with the graphics, but you want to do the opposite and sound good for the people who are like in the other room and not watching you, but listening. So hardening your voice and projecting is really important when you're going on the air. Also, when you're talking about graphics, so I touched on this a little bit earlier. There are so many stations here. Our only competitor where I am in Massachusetts, they show these graphics with like 4 upper level lows, occluded fronts, cold fronts. Oh my gosh, there's everything on it. They'll show isobars and the viewer just like completely blanks out. For us, it seems completely normal and doesn't seem complicated, but there are viewers who just look at that and they're just like, you know what I mean? They're so confused. They have no idea what they're looking at. So one of my biggest tips and what research has actually shown to prove is don't get too complicated with your graphics. You really don't need to worry about showing the really, really complicated stuff. Now, if you're doing like a story explaining a certain weather phenomenon outside of like your normal weather forecasting, that might be okay. But like your general everyday forecast, I would not go crazy with like the national maps showing all sorts of weather features on them, because most people just completely don't even understand. And not only do they not understand, but to be completely honest, they actually don't care. And I know that sounds weird, but like they just don't care. They just want to know how the weather is going to affect them. You know what I mean? They don't care if it's from a cold front or if it's from a low pressure system or if it's from a high pressure system or if it's from, the Alberta Clipper. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? The general viewer just like kind of isn't interested. We're interested. We think it's cool and awesome and we want to talk about it. But the general viewer just like really is like, it's not that important. What is really good is a lot of lifestyle and event graphics. So if you're forecasting for a local area that has like farmers markets, hockey games, baseball games, people love stuff like that. Dog walking forecasts. It seems silly, but the more you do lifestyle and event graphics, and it seems silly because we're so used to such a complicated level of math and science, and to dumb it down almost this much seems ridiculous. But the average viewer actually really likes it. So they love lifestyle graphics. Again, dog walking forecast, mowing forecast, car wash forecast. People eat that stuff up. I don't really get it, but man, anytime I do a graphic like that, I get such positive response. I'm just like, all right, I'm going to do it then. Another one is humor. One of the biggest benefits of being broadcast meteorology versus being like an anchor is we're completely ad-libbed. So there's no script. The teleprompter actually shuts off when you do the weather, so you don't get confused. So you're just left hanging. But because of that, because you ad-lib and you're not reading a script, one of the reasons weather people are some of the most popular people at news stations is because since we ad-lib and go off script, we can show our personality. Obviously, this would be used for quiet weather days, not severe weather days. But if it's sunny outside and it's 80, it's really nice to be personable, show your personality. maybe even show a little bit of humor. And it seems funny, might seem weird, but the more people enjoy watching you and know your personality, the more people are going to continue to watch you. And then the more viewers that watch you, the more other television markets watch you. And the more other television markets watch you, the more network markets watch you. Do you see where it's going? So like the more people really like your personality, the more eyes you are going to have on you, not even just from viewers, but from other stations. Because depending on where you're doing the weather, if you're in, Kansas or something, this might be different. But generally speaking, more days than not are not severe weather days. So you really need to know how to be personable, show your personality. The first few weeks on TV, when you're super nervous, it's probably not going to happen because you're just terrified and that's just how it happens. But you get really comfortable really fast. And after a few weeks, you won't be scared at all anymore going on. And you'll be more comfortable using humor and being personable and joking about all sorts of stuff. Like one very specific example was, it was really nice outside in Massachusetts recently, and it's been really cold and the weather's just warming up and it's finally getting sunny. So people are finally doing yard work again. And our anchor started this, and he looked at me and my other co-anchor and was like, oh, hey, like I've got tons of yard work for you guys to do if you're interested. And we all started laughing. And Taylor was like, oh yeah, that's why I have an apartment. And I was like, that's why I got a fiance. And everyone started laughing and everyone thought it was hilarious. And I got like literally like 5 DMs on Facebook about it, being like, Kelly, I love waking up with you. You're so funny. I really enjoy it. So it seems so silly and like such a small thing. It was literally just like the one little sentence, but people loved it. And then in their mind, they're like, hey, I can do yard work now. So they listen to you to tell them what they can even do with the weather. Like, oh, it's a good day to go out for a walk. If you're going out for a walk, maybe you will want umbrella. People also like being told what to wear and what to bring. So rain gear, umbrella. If it's going to be windy and rainy, skip the umbrella, go with a raincoat. People love that kind of stuff as well, because they just like being told what to do, I guess. Now on severe weather days, obviously you don't want to be funny at all. Obviously it depends on the severity. If we're talking about like one severe thunderstorm, that's not a huge deal. If there's a tornado risk, obviously that's a big deal. You want to be more serious tone of voice, but the biggest tip I have in broadcasts on severe weather days is people who rush speak way too quickly, and the viewer can get really confused, and you throw so much data at them so quickly, they just get really lost as to what's happening. So what you do when you start a broadcast is you go to your producer, and no one told me about this when I first started. You go to producer and you ask for more time. If you only have 2 minutes and 30 seconds and you have a tornado risk and a risk for hail and damaging wind gusts in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, that's not enough time. And then as they're cueing you in your ear, you hear, oh my gosh, I've only got a minute left and I'm not even halfway through like the future radar type thing. And then you feel the need to rush, and then you sort of spit out a bunch of data and the viewer just like gets completely lost as to what's going on. So I always ask for more time, so I almost go slower on severe weather days so people can really understand what I'm saying. Because, oh, it's sunny and 80, you can say that pretty fast to people understand. But when there's a tornado risk, you want to say like 2 to 4 o'clock this afternoon is the best chance for a severe thunderstorm. The tornado risk really is from 4 to 6, and it's mainly for these counties versus these counties. And during that time, you're going to want to get away to get any severe weather alerts. You really just want to take it slow so people understand, because it's so easy, especially when you first start, to get really like amped up when you have your first severe weather day, and you just like get so excited because all these cool graphics you have, and you have all this information you want to share, Storm Prediction Center, tornado watches, and all that. It can be really easy to accidentally just go too fast, and data dump is what I call. So ask for more time and just slow down and make it simple. One thing you guys may have noticed if you follow enough meteorologists on Twitter is, have you ever seen how some broadcast meteorologists, instead of marginal, slight, moderate, enhanced, whatever, they switch it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Have you guys seen that at all? Okay, yeah. So that's exactly what I mean by the translation. And they even did research, and there have been stations that asked their viewers if they knew the difference, and like 5% of people got it right. Nobody knows what the difference between marginal and slight is. No one knows enhanced and moderate. They really don't get it. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels is I think really good. It's a number. Level 1 out of 5, level 2 out of 5, level 3 out of 5. People get numbers, simple ones. So that's another thing to talk about on severe weather days. Personally, my news producer hates when we show Storm Prediction Center graphs, which sucks because I really like using them because I like showing which counties are at higher risk. And then what he said to me one day is, he's like, okay, put up the graphic. And then I showed him. And then I was like, he said, what's the yellow? I was like, oh, it's slight. And he said, what's slight? And I was like, oh, it's like the second level of the 5 severe weather levels. And he was like, what did the 5 severe weather levels mean? And I was like, oh, well, it's this. And then I was like, oh, it's from the Storm Prediction Center. He's like, what's the Storm Prediction Center? He's basically trying to show how like viewers really don't understand the stuff like we do. They don't even know what the Storm Prediction Center is. There are a lot of people who don't actually know what the Storm Prediction Center is. So if your news director allows you to show graphics like that, it doesn't hurt to simplify it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like I was just telling you about, breaking it down to your risk for hail, your risk for tornadoes, is really good just to explain to people. It's more about the impacts to them. You know what I mean? It's more about the potential impacts and then the chances of those impacts rather than data dumping on them. But yeah, before I go on to the next one, I've been talking a lot. Do you guys have any questions about anything I've said? No? Okay. All right. Social media in broadcasts is another increasingly important part of the job, which is unfortunate because in my opinion, it gives viewers a way too easy way to contact you in not a good way. But you have to have tough skin if you're in broadcast. I was prepared for that. I wasn't quite prepared for how terrible some people can be, regardless of how accurate you are, how good you look, how professional you are, whether you never mess up on, stumble over words or anything, it doesn't matter. At some point, someone's going to send you something on social media. And my biggest tip is to just ignore it. The block button is your best friend. Don't even bother trying to fight with them because, it's just not even worth it. My last job was a digital meteorology position. I wasn't even on the air. I did a lot of climate change reporting. And where I was in Cleveland, the people there were just not receptive to it. And I got all these horrible emails all the time. And I just learned that there's no reasoning with some of the people who message you. So having a tough skin and broadcast is really important. Just remember that some of these people are just, I don't know, unhappy with their lives and see someone killing it on TV and we're like, oh, I just want to say something mean. But again, it's important part of the job. You have to do it. Probably all news stations are going to require you to have at least a professional Facebook page, professional Twitter page. Nowadays, probably even Instagram. But also research has shown that you don't really get a lot of money from it. So you don't need to go crazy with it like some people do where they're tweeting every like 20 minutes. In my experience, it's easiest to just send Facebook or tweet, just be like, hey, we've got severe weather, a severe thunderstorm warning was just issued. We're following this live on WWLP.com or whatever your news website is or whatever your news Facebook page is. Sometimes you live stream after the news if it's not during news time. That's the easiest way to do it, in my opinion, unless you can do automated stuff like that, but you really don't have to kill yourself over it. But the reason it's important is because it helps to sort of build kind of a relationship with like your regular viewers. Obviously, if you're in Chicago or New York, that's not as easy, but you're likely not going to start that high. That would be great. But the more I posted on social, I realized it was actually gaining my viewers for people who watched on the news, because there are people who learned who I was from Facebook and from Twitter and from Instagram, and then went to watch me on the news and then started regularly watching during the news. and that increases ratings, and increasing ratings on the shift you're working is good stuff. So keep it appropriate. Don't be afraid to show personal stuff. Just don't be like too personal. I don't even know of a good example of that, but people do like seeing the behind the scenes stuff. Like, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I post so many behind the scenes stuff, just showing me on the green wall and everything. I'll tell them what's going on in my life or whatever, and do some personal photos. But that also has gained more viewers and everything from people who saw me on Instagram. So social media is important. The news director is going to want you to have it. It kind of is just part of the job, which is tough because I feel like a year after year in broadcast, we just get given more and more jobs, but here we are. And probably my biggest tip after all is, you guys are really lucky you have a green screen. Just practice a lot, like a lot. And I don't know, maybe even practice with your friends watching too, so you can kind of get the sense of people watching you. Because when you're practicing alone, you know, you might be great. And then your first day, you get in front of that camera and, you know, tens of thousands of people are watching you. Everything you practice on your own is just going to like fall out of your brain, if that makes sense. And you're just going to get really nervous. So just practice as much as you can. Practice in front of an audience if you can, just to get the feel of eyes being on you, really, because nothing compares to practicing alone compared to what you'll be doing on TV, I guess. That's kind of all I had to say. I don't know if you guys have any questions. Can you go past 30 minutes in the meetings that you have guys set up?
Yeah, I have the unlimited. So
okay. But yeah, that's kind of all I had. I don't know if you guys, do you have any questions, like tips for getting your first job or anything, or what to wear, or I don't know.
That would be great. I had kind of a super quick question, but are you allowed to just block whoever you want on social media?
On your
or are there any
personal
rules?
pages? Hell yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can. I even have gone onto our Storm Team Facebook page and I hit the block button like nobody's business on there too. I don't care. I really don't. It's your best friend, really. And your news director doesn't want you to have to deal with that stuff anyway. If they're being terrible and they never, you know, say like thanks for the forecast or anything, and they're just there to do nothing but troll, just block them. I even block people on the Storm Team page. They'll just randomly say, you guys suck. Even if we like nailed the forecast for a month in a row, it won't matter. People will just say stuff like that because they're just bored at home. And people will say stuff like that even if they don't believe it, because they're just trying to get a rise and a reaction out of you. That's literally why some people do it. Just block them. Until your news director or boss says otherwise, block, block, block. I do it all the time.
Have you noticed, has it been worse with COVID or better? Or I don't know, just because I know more people are home and stuff.
Yeah, I think it has. What's interesting is the morning viewership on TV has lowered because, see, if a 9 o'clock job working from home, you don't have to wake up till like 8:30, right? But before, you were waking up at 6:30 or 7 when our newscast is actually on, before like the Today Show or whatever your network morning show is. So that's gone down, but because of that, the digital side has gone much higher. So a lot more people on Facebook and Twitter, a lot more people messaging me, asking me questions. There are some people who don't even watch 22 News and just go to my Facebook page every day because I post at least once per day. Usually it's like, hey, here's the day cast for today, which is just like the summary graphic. And then it's just like tune into 22 News from 4:30 to 7 or whatever. But yeah, I would say it definitely has gotten a little bit worse. Some people are also under a lot of stress. So when they see someone on the air who's happy, they're like, how dare they? You know, and so it's just kind of, it happens. People get stressed. They say mean things. Don't take it personally, even though you're probably going to get a horrible personal attack. Full honesty, I've definitely cried. But looking back, I was like, wow, that was silly. I shouldn't have cared. You know what I mean? The first one is always going to hurt. And then you're like, okay, these people, I shouldn't be upset at these people saying these things, because really they're just upset with their own lives, or stressed at a job, or, you know, financial hardship, or COVID and everything. So just don't take it personally. That's probably my best piece of information I can give you. Any other very specific questions about being on TV?
Cheryl had one in the chat. What is a digital meteorologist job like compared to a broadcast meteorologist job?
So, okay, so it depends on where you're going. So they have some TV news stations that have digital meteorologists. And what they do is not only do they write weather related stories, climate change stories, but if it's a larger market, what they do is sometimes they have meteorologists for TV, and then they'll have digital meteorologists, but you'll still go on the green screen and produce videos just for the web or just for social media. There are some digital meteorologists that do that. My digital meteorologist position, which is something that you would be able to find if you looked around, was purely writing at first. I just wrote every day an article on the weather forecast for the day. If it was Friday, I'd do the weekend. I'd write about climate change and just all sorts of weather related stories. And I even started, after a while, since there is more digital revenue, and by that I mean money, in videos than there is just reading, they, after time, did want me to start doing videos. So just because it's digital doesn't mean you'll necessarily never be behind a camera. There might be a job out there that isn't. And I started doing a weekly thing called On the Radar, and I just explained all sorts of weird things, like how does the weather affect grapes for wine? How does the weather affect, oh God, I don't even know. I'm blanking on this, all sorts of stuff I did. Aviation, how does climate change and weather, what is their tie to Cleveland? What are Cleveland's climate trends and stuff? And they wanted me to do videos after a while because that's just how we make more money, because they can, I mean, you've watched YouTube, you can see the ads right in the video, right? So that's how they make money. They make more money on videos than they do with the little ads that they put in like a Word article that you're reading. So they suggested I do that. And then I started doing that for a while. And then I started doing a weekend weather forecast where I literally just, no joke, just stood outside and just talked about the weather. That's it. Unscripted, just stood there. And 2 weeks later, I got the email asking me if I wanted a job at TV. Not even kidding, 2 weeks later. So you get your stuff on YouTube, people are watching, supposedly. I literally, my first day was like, oh, this is great practice to be on TV one day. And 2 weeks later, I got a job offer on TV. So digital does not necessarily mean you'll never be on camera, but it really depends. If it's in TV news and it's a larger market, you may be doing on camera stuff, but stuff that's more for the web and Facebook and Twitter, because less and less people are honestly watching local TV news, and more are going on local TV news websites and phone apps and everything. And they have meteorologists who do little daily videos specifically for their phone app, because the TV meteorologist is busy doing the morning show and the noon show and stuff like that. So I started in digital. I thought it was great. There's a digital meteorologist at nj.com, which is iwascleveland.com. They do New Jersey. He writes all sorts of weather stories all the time, weather forecasts, explainers type things. So digital is out there if that's something you're interested in. If you're not completely sold on the being on the air every single day, you know, dressing up and all that stuff, digital is out there, and it's more and more becoming a thing. You guys know about the Capital Weather Gang? Do you guys know them? Okay, so they have digital meteorologists there. So they just write some weather stories. I can't see the chat. Let me see if I can see this. Oh, I didn't even see this. Okay, digital meteorologist, cool. Is there anything else you guys were wondering about?
What kind of
go ahead,
sorry.
Cassie. Sorry.
Okay. What kind of, like, for just a normal day-by-day forecast, what graphics, like, what things do you touch on? Like, what do you think is the most important thing to touch on?
So if it's quiet, you want to focus on a lot of lifestyle and event graphics, like, hey, you're heading to the football game this weekend or tonight. this is what it's going to be like. Beautiful day to get outside, go to the playground with your kids. I literally have a playground forecast. Dog walking forecasts. If it's really quiet weather, I focus on a lot of now stuff, and then I spend more time on the 7-day if it's very quiet, you know what I mean? Because you don't bore people. But what it's like in news is you have something, I don't know how much you guys know about it, but there's like different weather segments. So there's a first weather, there are bumps, and then there's a big weather. First weather is usually, depends on the station, but between a minute 30. That's usually the now stuff. So if it's quiet day, I'll show the radar, or I'll show the clouds and radar and say, look how beautiful it is outside. A lot of sun, that's going to warm temperatures up. I'll show temperatures across the region. People love hearing their town name, and I don't get it. I will literally get messages like, why don't you ever say Pittsfield, or why don't you ever say Agawam? And I don't know what it is. People love hearing their town. It's crazy. So I will go through at every town, not every single one. I have different maps that show different towns. Depending on the day, I'll switch it around. But I'll say the town and the temperature, and people love it. I honestly don't get it, but people will literally be like, why don't you ever say my town? Why does this ever happen? Why is that? So people love that stuff. So I'll show like the clouds and radar, even if it's empty. Even if there's nothing on it, it's always good to show the radar just to confirm with people that it's quiet. I know some meteorologists who hate showing it when there's nothing on it, but people like to know that there's nothing on it. Do you know what I mean? That's still weather. So they still want to know that stuff. And then I'll do a day cast, which is that like little 4-part graphic where you show maybe the next every 3 hours or so. So 3 hours from now, 6 hours from now, 9 hours from now, the little icon and the temperature, just to show how the day is going. A bump is usually like a 20-second thing before the commercial break, before your big weather. And that's usually like something fun. Maybe I'll show the almanac and show the record for the day, show how close we're getting to it. Or if we have a crazy temperature swing, I'll show like the 24-hour temperature change map. Or if it's a gorgeous sunrise, which will happen in the morning show, you can show pictures of that. People love sending in pictures of sunrises. That's another thing. Oh my God, you'll get like dozens on a really nice sunrise day. People love seeing their photos on the air, and then they think you're like your best friend. So I suggest doing that a lot. People love it. And then a big weather is like, you want to start with like some sort of headlines. So we have what's called like a forecast focus, where it's like literally 3 lines where we just write a little bit tidbit for the headlines for the week. So, next 3 days, lovely and quiet. Weekend, some rain chances. Start to next week, cooling down, just some weather headlines, where even if they can only watch you for 30 seconds and walk out the door, they at least have some inkling of what the weather is, if that makes sense. Like if they need to make it snappy, they can walk out right away. And then it's focusing on all future stuff, all temperature trends as the day goes on, the sky cast. If it's quiet today, severe weather the next day, I'll go through today really quickly and really just put the focus on tomorrow and go, people love hour by hour looks. I don't know what it is. They really like the day to be broken down bit by bit. And then you can show, severe weather risks and stuff like that. And then we wrap up with the forecast for tonight, which is the range of temperatures for your DMA, which is your viewership area. I'll do a range of like 6 degrees at nighttime and 4 during the day. So we'll do the forecast for tonight, tomorrow, and then the 7-day. And again, if it's quiet and there's not much to talk about today and tomorrow, then I spend a lot of time on the 7-day. So I'm gonna have gone off the rails there, but
No, it's good. We're still trying to like make our graphics. Karsha's been making our graphics for us in PowerPoint because we still only know what software to use. So those gave us more ideas, because we have a base template right now that we send out to people so they can use for when they're doing their recordings for their mentors, so they have something to use.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure things out. So you gave us some more ideas for stuff we can use.
That's good. Another thing that might be good for practicing is if you can have someone there with a timer on your phone, giving you cues. So some stations are different. Some have a clock in front of your eyes counting down the time you have left on your weather hit. My specific station, which you get used to quick, it takes some learning, they cue you in your ear. So you're speaking and you have to process what they're saying to you in your ear. At first, you'll be like sunny outside and you'll get so thrown off. But you get used to it really quickly. So the cues will literally be like, for first weather, it's usually minute 30 to start. I'll get a 1 minute. It's really quick. 1 minute, 30, wrap, which is 15 seconds. And then if you go over 15 seconds, they'll straight up say cut, and you need to like stop like right there. When they say wrap, I usually like within 10 seconds, I'm usually wrapping up what I'm saying. But it would help to have someone cue you, like a friend timing you down, to get used to hearing that, because at first it threw me off so much. Every time I got a cue, I had to like stop and like think about it. That was the biggest thing for me. And then you also do today's show cut-ins or whatever your morning network show is, if you're in the morning. And those are hard. So those are 30-second cut-ins to the second live. So you have someone in your ear going 10, 9, 8, 7, counting all the way down to 1 as you're trying to like wrap up what you're saying, still make sense, have it end on the right second, but also not rushed or not be cut off. That was probably harder than all the weather hits I ever had. Because rap during the newscast, you got a couple second leeway. With weather cut-ins during the network morning show, you do not have any leeway. So that was hard. But yeah, so have a friend like count you down like a minute 30 on their phone and cue you, and that's probably would be very beneficial. You were going to have a question, right? Kelly?
Okay, yeah. I don't remember what it was now, but something about, I know you do you do morning or afternoon or both right now?
So I started doing, there's another thing. This is another great thing to talk about when you start. You will most likely start on weekends. There are a few different types of weekend shifts. The worst one, which is a possibility, is a weekend split shift. I don't know how people do it. I really don't get it. They do the morning newscast. I don't know if they go home and nap or what. And then they come back and do the evening newscasts, and then literally get up multiple hours later, just a few, and do the Sunday morning and then the Sunday evening. Usually, if that's the case, you only have 2 more days in the work week, because they get that that's awful. And then you basically only work 4 days. The other one is you'll either do the weekend morning shows or the weekend evening shows. And then 3 days during the week, you will do some sort of reporting. Some stations will make you do more than weather reporting and will make you do news reporting. I was lucky enough to not have to do that. So it is important to at least know. I took at FIT, I took writing for media, and that was actually really helpful if you guys want to go into broadcast. Talks about AP style and everything. Some stations will require you to do news reporting, and by that I mean like crime scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, Anna's doing that right now. That's why she couldn't come. They called her to fill in, otherwise she's gonna come.
Yeah, that stinks. My station was great. We stuck to weather reporting. So I did reporting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I was off Thursday and Friday, but I was lucky enough to just do weather stuff. So like, there's flooding at the local marina. Let's talk to them how it's impacting them, if that makes sense. It's really warm. Cicadas are blowing up everywhere. Let's talk to an entomologist type thing. And that was really nice. But it would not hurt to have some sort of reporting background, even if your focus, I know, is meteorology, because a lot of the times you start on weekends. And what sucks is even as you build up to larger markets, a lot of the time you restart on weekends. So I just got off weekends and I now do Monday through Friday mornings. But if I go to another large market, how much you want to bet I'm going to be thrown back on weekends, and I might be doing some weather reporting. So I do like the weather meteorology part better than the reporting. I won't lie. It wasn't my favorite, but it's doable. It can be fun. The one benefit is, so I interned at the National Weather Service in Melbourne that was there, and you're just sitting at a computer all day long. 8 hours, you're literally just sitting there staring at a screen. What's nice about reporting, and you have to learn how to use a camera and everything, you get to go outside. You get to leave the station. You get to have some fresh air. You get to go, and when it's weather reporting, you get to shoot some beautiful landscapes. You get to talk to people, how they're impacted by the weather, which is something we care about. So it's actually really nice because you get out of the office. Like, you're not living a sedentary lifestyle. You know what I mean? You're getting out, talking to people, getting some fresh air, like getting out and about. If you go to somewhere in the winter, you're doing fun stuff like ski mountains and all sorts of stuff like that. So it wasn't my favorite, but at the same time, it was really nice to leave the studio and just like leave everyone, not have to deal with management for the day, if that makes sense. So there's pros and cons to it. I really liked it, especially in the winter. Even if it's not snowing, you just throw on some snow pants and you dress for the weather. It's not bad if you're spending time outside, if it's in the 20s outside, if you dress for it. So at first it was hard because you have to learn how to use a camera and I was not trained on that stuff. So that was a learning curve for me. But once you get it down pat, and it's easy, honestly. It really is. And it's a necessary part of the job because you're most likely going to start in weekends. So, but yeah, so what I started was weekend mornings and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, weather reporting. And then there's another meteorologist who does the opposite. So he does weekend evenings and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday reporting. So everyone overlaps on Wednesdays, and on Wednesdays in every news station across the country are just loaded up with people because everyone is working the same day. But I got promoted when our morning meteorologist left for Austin, Texas. They promoted within the company, which is great. They didn't hire someone and just, screwed me over, but they promoted me to Monday through Friday. So I don't do weather reporting anymore. And I do weather at the wall. And I definitely love it. So yeah, it's busy. If you don't want to work holidays, I wouldn't work in this line of work. You're going to be working Christmas, Thanksgiving, work until 11 o'clock at night when you have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning the next day, especially with weather. Snowstorms, like I was out so late at night covering snowstorms. There are some nights that if it was so bad and I had such a short time between my next shift, I would sleep at the station. So you have to really like it. You have to expect to work holidays, especially when you first start, because you're the newbie, right? So it's like, this meteorologist has been here for 20 years. I'm not going to make him work Christmas. So that's an important expectation to have in the news business. I know that we literally had a photographer who didn't show up to a shift on Christmas because he thought we were closed. And it was like, yeah, people were like, wait, what? You think we close? Like, never. So it's a 24-hour operating thing. And especially with weather, you're going to be moved all around depending on the weather, especially if you're a weekend meteorologist, because that means you're the one out reporting in the conditions Monday through Friday, or depending on when your shift is. But yeah, so those are the possible shifts you can get. There's obviously evening, which is like 2:30 in the afternoon to 11:30 at night, because that covers the 5 to 6:30 show and 10 and 11. My shift is 3:30 in the morning to 12:30. So I wake up at 1:30. I go to bed at 5:30. So yeah, I know. I can see your faces. I know it sounds insane. Blackout curtains are your best friend. Sunday nights, I just take like a CVS sleep aid on Sunday nights. But then you're tired Monday, and then you're reset for the rest of the week because you're so tired on Monday, you basically die Monday night at probably earlier than you need to go to bed. And then you wake up feeling just as fine Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Sunday nights, I just give myself a little bit help with a CVS sleep aid, and that's what my co-anchors do too. And blackout curtains, shut those curtains 2 hours before you go to bed. Doesn't matter how beautiful and bright and sunny it is outside. You want to like trick your brain kind of into thinking it's nighttime. It's really not that bad once you get used to it. So it sounds insane, but it's doable. Did I scare you guys away yet? Okay, good. All right. Anything else? I'm open.
What when you do your forecast, what websites do you generally like use to make a forecast?
Okay, so the National Weather Service will become your best friend. I love reading their area forecast discussions every morning. Just in case you miss something, especially when you're new, you're not been forecasting in that location for 25 years. You know what I mean? Drizzle doesn't show up on future radar or skycast type things. It doesn't. So it's really good just to read it. That's like the first thing I do is I just read through just to see what they're thinking. I don't follow them word for word because especially when it comes to snow. The National Weather Service in Boston here from my location is crazy. And they do like 9 to 10 inches when we have like 2 to 3. So you will have differences, but I do like reading their discussion. So that's good. Their hourly data for your town is a good base if you're rushed for time. My favorite recently was actually the NBM, the National Blended Models, but something happened within the past few days and it hasn't updated since Friday. I hope that's not permanent. So all sorts of stuff like that. And then Weather Bell, if you can get a subscription, not all pay for it. What we did at my station is we basically all pitched in for it, all 4 of us, and we use the same login. So we look at Weather Bell a lot. But the NBM is my favorite. And then the National Weather Service MOS data, the MOS data showing the next 3 days, hourly temperature, stuff like that. That's really big.
Oh, the NBM hasn't been updating. Oh, that's what we've been using because that's what I was told.
Is it still broken?
It's not working for Melbourne either. It hasn't shown anything. It still shows Friday the 14th.
Okay, yeah, that's when it paused on mine too. I don't know what's going on there. I hope they fix it because that was my favorite to look at.
I hope. That's what I used for my first forecast when we were trying to test out all the equipment. I was using the NBM.
It's great because not only does it show you like the middle ground, but it shows you the uncertainty in each temperature forecast or sky forecast, coverage or anything. So the days where that box is really thin, you're like, all right, we're going to hit 77 degrees, no problem. But days where, you can see the outliers of the models, you could be like, wow, this is going to be a tricky forecast. Clearly there's some sort of front moving in at an exact time and an exact certain amount of cloud cover that could really change things quickly. So the NBM is great. I hope they fix it. I don't know what's going on there. And then MOS data, and then National Weather Service. Oh, and then within the actual software that your station uses, there's mainly 2 with Barron and WSI. WSI is mostly used, but they're pretty user friendly and you'll be able to figure it out. Basically, it's like fancy PowerPoint. And within WSI, you can actually pull up the future radar, the clouds and everything, and you can change the model outputs within that. So if the RPM's acting crazy, WSI just came out with their own model called the graph. It's not great. You can switch between that, the Euro, the HER, I like to call it HRR or whatever. So within your actual weather software that the TV station pays for, you can actually switch between the models and show what you want. I do that a lot with snow. We have one that shows all 4 model outputs, like the NAM, GFS, Euro, and the RPM. All shows it comparatively, so you can just look at it at a glance, and it's really good. So those are probably the websites I use most of all. The NBM is my go-to for like the temperature. This is super easy to look at, especially when you rush for time, which you will be on occasion. So that's probably the websites I use.
Yeah, I was told about Weather Bell. I still had to look into that, but someone else told me that too. So if multiple people are saying that's probably a good thing then.
Yeah, it's good. It's run by, I think, Ryan Mao, who is interestingly is now like the new NOAA, some sort of leadership position in NOAA. I can't remember. But yeah, it's a good website. But again, the station software you use does have different model outputs. So even if you can't get Weather Bell or you're not making enough money to pay for it at first, which will happen, you can still, get by. Oh, and then also WSI has their own website called Model Lab, and you can look at separate models on that website as well. Almost like Weather Bell, just not as many options. But that's free with your station subscription to WSI, or Barron, I'm sure probably has their own as well. But
yeah, we're trying to find somewhere to get a radar because we have PowerPoint for everything. We just don't know what we can use for a radar. We tried WSV and it was just really clunky.
You don't just want to look at the Melbourne one on their website?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I just don't know if we're allowed to use that for I'll know it's only going on social media. We're just trying to figure out what we can use legally without copyright infringement.
Oh.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Anything on a government website you're allowed to use free.
Anything from a government website?
Okay. Anything from a government, NASA, NOAA, Climate Prediction Center, that is free use. You can use any government thing. Private.
We'll probably do that then.
Yeah, private you cannot. But a lot of my weather stories, I straight up will take shots of something from YouTube if it's from NASA or NOAA or whatever. That's like a widely known media thing You can use any government thing. You want to give them credit and,
Oh
put
yeah.
a note on there, but government is free for use for all media essentially, because that's their whole job, is to get the information out to the public. You know what I mean? So they see it as a good thing. They see it as us promoting them, basically. So yeah.
Okay, then we can just use that. That eliminates all the problems then. I did not know that. I'm still trying to learn how to learn everything.
Yeah. I would say like this is the National Weather Service in Melbourne's radar on their
Oh yeah,
webpage.
put it on say it in the forecast or put it at the bottom of it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, government that's the one easy thing that I like about weather, is you never even have to worry about it. You can just use it. Weather Bell is different. I don't know if you have to pay for like certain levels of subscriptions, whether or not you can show their stuff online or post it on social. I'm not entirely sure. So if you sign up for them, they should have some page somewhere explaining their terms of use or whatever. So I would double check that, because that's a private company. Even if it's public models like the NAM and GFS, it's still using their website and their outputs and everything, if that makes sense. So
yeah, it does.
Anything else? Good.
I think we are. Anyone have any more questions?
So you go to bed in an hour and a half Eastern time?
Yeah. If you want to survive morning shift, you have to do it. I'm sorry, you do. There are people who are like, oh, I just can't go to bed that early. They go to bed at 8 o'clock and wake up at 1 o'clock every day. And then by Thursday and Friday, you're like a literal zombie. I can't do it. So yeah, I mean, don't forget, I've been awake since 1:15, so I'm tired. You know what I mean? It's not like it feels like it's 5:15 to me. To me, it feels like it's 9 o'clock at night to like the normal person. And behind me, you can't really see, but all my blackout curtains in my apartment are shut right now. My bedroom, they are too. I start like winding down before bed and tricking my brain into thinking it's nighttime. But the only way to make it sustainable waking up that early is going to bed early. That is the only way. I know some people who do the crazy, they get home at 1, they take like a 2-hour nap, then they go to the gym, and then they don't go back to bed till like 9 o'clock at night, and then they wake up at 1 a.m. and I'm just like, oh, that doesn't sound like a restful night's sleep to me. I'm also not a good napper, so I don't know how they do that. Some people do that route. I like a good 7-8 hours of straight sleep, so I just go to bed at 5:15. My family knows it. My friends know it. I put my phone on do not disturb. I have like a favorites list that can override do not disturb, which is like my boss, the station. If something wild goes crazy, you want them to be able to contact you, even if you're sleeping at 5:15. But yeah, you got to do it. It stinks. But there's no normal shift. There is not a single normal shift in the news. One time we had a reporting shift. A state house reporter Monday through Friday 9 to 5, sure. And there was one time we had a reporter shift Monday through Friday 9 to 5, but that has since been removed. So there's only one person who gets normal shift, and that's state house reporter, because the state house hours are Monday through Friday 9 to 5. But no matter what way you look at it, people in the morning have to go to bed early, so they miss out on evening stuff. People who work evening shift miss out on going out to dinner with their friends. They sleep in really late. So you miss out on stuff on both shifts, honestly, on morning or evening. Just part of the job.
Matt, why are you smiling?
I go to bed at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Same.
So what's funny, I met my fiance at this TV station I work at. He works evenings. So he works 2:30 to 11:30, but just like you, he doesn't go to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning. So I actually hang out with him when he's getting ready for bed and I'm getting ready for work. No joke. And then when I come home from work, he's getting ready for work and we see each other for another hour and a half. So our schedules are so wildly different. It actually works out. So it's kind of cool because someone's awake at 1:15 with me. So I have someone to talk to and it helps me wake up in the morning. But I know. And yeah, it's Try to go for evening shift then, I guess, if that's your schedule. But like I said, after that Sunday night, after that work day on Monday, you are dead and you will fall asleep so early Monday night and you'll be fine for the rest of the week. I'm a night owl too, so it took some shifting around, but you get used to it. Anything else?
This is more for Cassie, but where is that email that you send out about the broadcast thing? Like, I'm worried, am
The
I
PowerPoint?
hallucinating? No, it was like specific. I thought it was about this, but wasn't there
I sent
another
out
one
an
that was
email
like
last
to our
night.
individual groups? I feel like it was older than that.
What?
Like it had like me and like 2 other people in it. I swear.
Oh, Cam, I sent that out like a week ago. Where have you been?
Not the one when we went like to campus, but I swear.
I would say I
You
CC'd
said
you in-
hi Kelly in it, and I wasn't sure if it was me or her.
Oh, with
Remember?
Karsh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I CC'd you two in on that email. So you knew who you're
Okay.
talking to. You're talking to
Okay,
Kelly.
I can't
I put
find
you
it.
with Kelly. Kelly Square.
Oh wait, I found it. Okay, sorry. I was just
I
like,
put you with
there's
Kelly.
so many. I was like, I don't know.
See, there's too many emails. It's like you can't just tell me which one is this and expect me to know. There's too many. Yeah. You and Karsh are with Kelly. Whatever she is. Wherever she is on your screen.
Wait,
That's
if
where
you
I
guys
CC'd
are about
you.
to be seniors, are you doing field projects this summer?
They took away field projects. Everybody does that every time we say it. They took them away.
What?
Yeah.
I had to ruin one of my summers and take 6 Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Do you know how much? Oh, you don't even know. Wow. So do you have to take it any other time of the year?
We take a data analysis class now where we just have to do coding, and that's how we make our senior design poster.
Oh, that kind of stinks. I mean, It's good to know coding for broadcast, though. Pfft, I'm sorry, you don't need to know coding. You really don't.
Man, maybe I really need to do broadcasting. I hate
No,
coding.
Yeah,
I
incentive.
can't believe they got rid of summer projects. That was the worst summer of my life. Oh, you have no idea. I also heard did they get rid of geophysical fluids?
It's combined with the ocean engineers fluids.
Okay, yeah, that's
it's horrible.
Nice. Mine was all mechanical engineers. What about?
Yeah, no, that's a really bad class. I have to retake it.
Yeah, that was hard. Do you still have to take modern physics?
Yes.
Yeah, that was. I just took that.
That's the
That
death
was
of me.
awful.
I did figure it. I thought it was cool.
Zach, you think chemistry and physics are cool?
Chemistry is terrible. Chemistry was bad.
And I like coding too, so take that.
What do you like, Zach? Oh, calculus?
Coding.
Coding, yeah. The trifecta.
You're an outlier.
Coding isn't that bad. It just depends. Like,
no, it's
coding
terrible.
is not a bad backup. Say you're having a hard time getting a job in meteorology, you can always get a job in literally software, IT, coding, stuff like that. It's not a bad skill to have by any means. And if you want to go on to get your master's and do research type stuff, obviously that's a huge benefit. National Weather Service likes coders and stuff like that too. At the National Weather Service in Melbourne, we had a guy whose job was just to code. That was it. So.
Oh gosh.
It's good. Have any of you guys worked at the National Weather Service in Melbourne?
They were like closed to all visitors because of COVID, so we're hoping soon.
Oh, that sucks. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it was hard for everything for a lot of us to get internships.
Yeah. And internships are pretty important. Internship is how I actually got my first job. They straight up said to me, your internship sounded interesting. Let's talk. And I got the job because of it. So
I finally got an internship at Columbia.
That's cool.
Was it a broadcast internship or just
I never planned to do broadcast. Like, no joke. I worked in the National Weather Service for 2 years. Like, I planned on working there. And there's like one position in the National Weather Service that is chosen locally versus regionally. And they straight up told me, we're going to pick you for this position. We want you to work here. We love working with you. You think you're a great fit. It was in Melbourne. Wouldn't even have to move. Great. I had a house. And headquarters in, I don't know, Texas or something, or at least regional headquarters, they forgot to post the position. online. So they straight up went to me, oh, you have to wait another year. And I was like, well, I got student loans to pay for. I can't do this. So I was heartbroken. Like, I loved the job. I thought I wanted to work there. And that was just like, I was so upset. All of senior year, though, I was applying to jobs the entire year. And 1 week before I graduated, I kid you not, my digital meteorologist position in Cleveland messaged me back. And they're the ones who said, you know, your National Weather Service job sounds cool. Let's talk. And then I got into digital, and then I started doing the videos I told you about. And that's how I made the leap to broadcast. And now I love it. Again, I was talking to earlier, the National Weather Service, you sit in front of a computer for 8 hours. That's it. And they switch shifts every few weeks too. So you guys think the news is crazy. They go from night shift for 2 weeks to day shift for 2 weeks to morning shift for 2 weeks. And they're constantly in rotation to make it fair.
That's
Yeah, that's crazy. That you don't get used to.
Happy.
Yeah. So that's how I got into broadcast. I was not planning on it. I took one media writing for media class just in case on a whim. And I'm so glad I did, because wow, I would have been so lost.
I almost was gonna take that. I'm either taking that or the intro to comms class. Those are the two I've been debating between.
Yeah.
Basically, but
both
then
are probably
very
similar. You just need to learn AP style. You need to learn how to write. Because even at broadcast, you still write web stories and stuff. Like if we have a severe weather alert day or whatever, we have to write a web story. So you still need to know like the format of writing and everything. So honestly, either of those is probably good. I was suggested though. I took it thinking I wouldn't need it, and here I am writing. So it's good.
Yeah, I was thinking of that, but then also Ray told us they're trying to hire a new professor. Yeah, let me pause this for a second.
Like exactly how I feel.
Yes, right? Yeah, that's why internships are important. Or there's something called SIMU AWIPS, which the National Weather Service uses. Their software is AWIPS. It's Advanced Weather Interactive Processing System. And that was the system I fooled around with when I first started my new job to help me forecast. I struggled in the beginning, but you learn by doing. But yeah, if it wasn't for the National Weather Service, like, I don't get why FIT doesn't just have a basic broadcast, non-broadcast forecasting class. Numerical weather prediction is just so high level, it's unnecessary. So
I've already seen part of it from other people who took it, and I'm like, it just went right over my head.
Yeah, I don't understand why they don't have forecasting 101. There, boom. That's what they need for a class at FIT that they don't have.
Yeah, AvMet 2 is like the closest to a weather forecasting class.
Yeah, right.
That's really the closest one, and Split taught a lot in that class. That's literally where I learned how to forecast.
Oh my God, that's right, because Dr. Utley died, right?
Dr. who?
Utley? He used to be the aviation professor.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh my God, he was one of my favorite. He told no one that he had cancer, and he just died of cancer. No one knew.
Oh,
it was so heartbreaking. Yeah, I got the email like a year after I left, so that's probably why you don't know who he was. But he's like a huge aviation guy. He's mainly in the aviation flight, all that sort of stuff. But he happened to also teach aviation meteorology. Split teaches it?
Yeah, because
probably touched on those a little bit.
Yeah, we're having Colin, since everyone's coming in at different levels, like freshman to senior. He's making like an education like syllabus of sorts to have people do some med-eds and comment modules.
Yeah,
just to get everybody to the same page.
That'll teach you more than numerical weather prediction ever will. Honestly,
oh yeah,
those are great.
Yeah, he's in the process.
If you want to do broadcast, you have to know how to forecast, and that's one thing FIT did not prepare me for that only the National Weather Service did.
Oh, hi, Anna. I forgot to say hi, Anna. She came in.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw her reaction.
Hi. Yeah, she's laughing because she knows it's true.
And I lost my internship my senior year with Wesh News. So like I literally went in with absolutely no forecast. Like the only forecasting experience I had was from the Weather Challenge.
Yeah.
So like to start your career and also have no preparation and forecast, I was like in culture shock.
Yeah. It sucks. Thank God for the National Weather Service forecast. You know, like at least you have like a basic starting point. But yeah, that was hard. So did you start with Wesh and then you couldn't finish, or they canceled it before you started?
They canceled it before I started.
That sucks. You guys know Andrew?
Chip.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Have you talked to him on this yet?
I've been talking to him about it, but he hasn't done one yet. You're the first one. We made you the first.
He's a character. He's a character.
Oh my gosh.
I think he interned at Wesh. Maybe it was a different channel, but
he helped get Anna his job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That man was born to be broadcast meteorologist. Like, I never thought I would do it, but you should have seen him in school. I was in school when he was, and holy crap. Yeah, so
I love Andrew. Well, we told him about what he's doing, and then he just started emailing Peterson like immediately. I'm like, oh my gosh.
He loves it. Oh my gosh, he was head over heels, broadcast the whole way through FIT. When I feel like most of us don't plan on it and it just happens, but
yeah,
with him it was, yeah, he's funny. I know there was a girl that they showed me who did broadcast, but it was like years before I even started.
Angie?
Oh, I know her. No, someone older than that. Andrew last minute. Yes, that her. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's who my example was when I first started. They were like, if you don't want to go down the science route, you can do broadcast, and they talked about Cassidy. But yeah, Angie's cool. She's in Miami, which is sweet.
Angie's very nice. She's only answered my email though. She's like, I was on vacation, and then I'm like, all right, you're back. Are you gonna answer my email?
Yeah.
I was like, where'd she go? She's so nice. I also went to one of the alumni connections she did. She did the first alumni connection thing, and she was so sweet.
Yeah, I saw she took over the FIT like alumni Instagram page or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she's awesome.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
cool.
It's you, Angie, Andrew, and Dan Smith are the four. And Sydney.
Who?
Dan Smith. He's in Ohio.
He's from FIT?
Yeah, I don't know when he graduated, but I know he's from FIT.
I'm gonna look him up. I didn't know there were.
I don't remember when he graduated, but those are the five that I reached out to because.
Oh my gosh, I do not recognize him at all. He looks. I can't tell how old he is. No, I think he's older. Weird. Cool. Yeah, I only really know of Angie and Andrew and Cassidy. And me. And Anna. But
yeah,
that's cool.
I don't know when did he graduate? I'm looking at his about and see. Doesn't say when he graduated. What did he tell me his message? Because he did one of our alumni Wednesday things also. When did he tell me he graduated? He graduated in 2013.
Okay, I was a freshman in 2012, so I was a sophomore. That makes sense.
Yeah, he graduated in 2013, and then apparently he's one of the youngest chief meteorologists in the country at 23 in San Angelo, Texas, before he went to Toledo.
That's cool.
He's from Canada, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, he moved to Toledo to be closer to home, which his home was Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely older than me.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I never even heard of Cassidy before. I feel uncultured now. I've not heard of her. I've not seen her. I haven't heard of her at all.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is there anything else before I sign off and get ready for bed?
Matt's still just in shock about it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering all our questions.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. It was very helpful.
Yeah.
And Karsh and Kelly, reach out to her. She's your mentor.
Yeah. I'm on social media and everything, so you can message me anytime.
Okay.
So.
Except when she's sleeping at 5 o'clock.
Well, you can. I just won't answer it for a while. I'll answer you at 1:30 in the morning and wake you up probably, but
or Karsh will already be awake probably.
Yeah.
True. Ever at all, so
she never sleeps.
Yeah.
Going to broadcast then. Apparently.
I was gonna say that's a good skill to have. Working on no sleep.
All right, awesome, and thank you so much for speaking to us.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay, Karsh. Hi, Karsh.
Okay, Cassie, let's go. I have to leave in like less than 20 minutes.
It's okay. We won't take long. Oh,
Okay.
Kelly, I'm have to say too. Hi, Anna. Oh, wait. Let me